Pirates. The word alone brings to mind images of roaring cannons, black flags, and treasure maps. But beyond the plunder and violence, one question lingers in the shadows. What did pirates actually do in their spare time? Did these hardened seafarers spend every waking hour chasing loot? Or did they have ways to relax, entertain themselves, and even celebrate? Some theories suggest their lives were filled with constant danger, while others point toward surprisingly playful pastimes. Could their fun have been crude and violent? Or did pirates enjoy activities more refined than most people imagine? The answer reveals a hidden side of life on the high seas that few ever consider. The so-called Golden Age of Piracy stretched from the late 17th century into the early 18th century, when thousands of outlaws ranged from the Caribbean to the Indian Ocean in search of wealth. These men, and occasionally women, formed makeshift societies on their ships, where traditional rules of nation and law had little control. Life at sea was grueling, with cramped living conditions, long voyages, and constant threat from the elements or rival forces. Yet despite the hardships, pirates developed unique communities with their own codes of conduct. Within these codes, time for fun and leisure was not only possible, but sometimes essential for maintaining order and morale. One of the most common forms of recreation aboard pirate vessels was music, especially singing. Pirates relied heavily on songs to pass time, keep rhythm during hard labor, and lift their spirits when morale suffered. Evidence tells us that they often adapted work songs, known as sea shanties, changing lyrics to fit their circumstances or poke fun at authority. These songs echoed across the wooden decks during long nights, uniting the crew in shared rhythm and humor. Historians believe crude instruments, from drums improvised out of barrels to fiddles acquired from captured ships, sometimes accompanied their voices. For men far from home, this shared music created a sense of belonging that could cut through isolation. When pirates had downtime, another popular activity was gambling. Dice, cards, and makeshift betting games were common ways to pass the long hours between raids or during storm delays. Some accounts describe whole fortunes in stolen coin being lost and won in these contests of chance. The stakes were often high, but the games were about more than money. They provided excitement and social connection in an otherwise monotonous environment. However, disputes over wagers sometimes exploded into violence, so pirate captains were known to intervene or establish rules that limited the scale of these games before they undermined discipline. Drinking was not just a pastime for pirates, it was part of their social fabric. With rum and ale among their most prized plunder, many crews celebrated successful raids with lavish feasts and heavy drinking sessions. These gatherings could last for days, turning secluded coves and captured ports into scenes of wild revelry. Drinking also played a role in bonding, as it allowed crew members to release tensions and maintain loyalty. Yet it was a double-edged sword. Captains who permitted too much drinking at the wrong time risked losing order, while others used measured access to alcohol as a deliberate way of rewarding discipline and bravery. Another way pirates entertained themselves was through storytelling. Sailors were known for their tales of adventure, and piracy added an extra layer of exaggeration and thrill. Around fires or crowded into the ship's galley, crews swapped descriptions of battles, narrow escapes, and rumors of hidden treasure. These stories were more than idle talk. They kept fear at bay by turning hardship into legend. Boasting was also a form of competition, with pirates trying to outdo one another in bravery, cunning, or the sheer scale of their supposed exploits. Today, historians suspect that many of these legends blurred truth and invention, yet they helped build the mythical image of pirates still known today. Entertainment for pirates often carried a practical edge. Swordplay, pistol practice, and wrestling matches were common amusements that doubled as training for future battles. Crews staged mock duels on deck, sometimes purely in sport and sometimes to settle rivalries using wooden staves or blunted blades. Wrestling was especially widespread, providing amusement and a physical release from the monotony of sailing. These contests not only entertained, but prepared pirates for real confrontations, sharpening their physical readiness while serving as a way to rank themselves among their peers. Amid the difficult and often brutal life aboard ship, companionship served a vital, if sometimes overlooked, role in pirate life. Evidence tells us that many pirates formed close friendships or partnerships, sometimes creating long-lasting bonds that historians suspect went beyond simple camaraderie. These connections lightened the emotional burdens of their profession and gave individuals stronger reasons to remain loyal to their crews. The pursuit of fun often centered around shared meals, laughter, and the small comforts that human connection could provide, which were vital in an environment where survival was uncertain from one week to the next. Pirates did not always stay confined to their ships. When they reached safe havens or lawless ports, such as New Providence in the Bahamas or Tortuga in the Caribbean, shore leave became an explosive mix of leisure and indulgence. Taverns, gambling houses, and brothels offered opportunities to spend their plunder in ways designed purely for enjoyment. Some pirates spent months ashore, blending into communities that tolerated their presence in exchange for their wealth. Shore leave was more than just entertainment. It recharged the crew's spirits, restored supplies, and occasionally allowed pirates to reconnect with a semblance of normal life before launching back into the dangers of the open sea. While less well known, creativity also played a role in how pirates entertained themselves. Evidence and accounts suggest that some pirates carved wood or bone into small figurines, fashioned jewelry from looted materials, or decorated their weapons and clothing. These acts of creativity provided distractions during long voyages and allowed pirates to express individuality in a world where possessions were few and functional. Though such items rarely survive today, references in logs and descriptions indicate that artistry and craft had a place even in a world defined by violence and plunder. What is clear from historical studies is that leisure was not a frivolous afterthought for pirates, but a central part of their culture. These activities, whether through music, gambling, drinking, or creative expression, helped crews maintain cohesion, discipline, and identity. Fun was essential to making the harsh life of piracy bearable, and it functioned as a stabilizing force in societies otherwise dominated by danger and unpredictability. The willingness to embrace joy and entertainment, however rowdy or crude, reveals that pirates were not only warriors of the sea, but also human beings seeking escape and meaning in the midst of chaos. The image of pirates has long been steeped in myth, often focusing on their ruthless violence and constant hunger for gold. Yet the reality of their lives included laughter, music, contests, and companionship, proving that even in the harshest conditions, people sought fun and relief. Historians believe this balance of ferocity and festivity helped sustain the pirate lifestyle longer than it otherwise might have endured. Behind the black flags and roaring cannons lived individuals whose leisure sheds light on their resilience and humanity. By understanding how pirates sought joy, we gain a more complete picture of what it truly meant to live outside the laws of the Age of Sail.